Missed me? My name is Benjamin Akakwa. Welcome aboard the AM News Review. Time now for us to get into that segment. I'll be introducing my guests shortly. But the segment is always brought to you courtesy of Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. And as always, they're offering you, if you're a man, prostate screening for free. If you're a woman, fertility screening for free. I proffer that you take advantage of that, especially with the cost of healthcare nowadays. You don't get gratis treatment. So reach out to Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. Where can you find them? Well, here in Accra, they are at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi Kronumabwe here, behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Takrade Anaji State, Tema Community 22, Tichiman Hanswa, and Esiama and Zema. These are their phone numbers. Are you ready? 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Joining me for the newspaper review this morning, I have Nanaya Sapong, political assistant to Alan Chemating, Alan Kwejo Chemating, and Remy Edmondson. He is National Secretary of the PPP. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Benjamin.
You're decked in white. The other one has the butterfly, Afafranto, in a mixture of... Did you get this print made for you? Did you find it find it?
We did it here in Ghana.
You made it here in Ghana. That's what I'm saying. Did you have this print made for you? So you
Someone saw the Afafranto, decided to make a design out of it. We fell in love with it. And we asked ATL to print us some pieces.
You asked ATL to print some pieces for you. It looks delicious.
I'll get you some.
You'll get me some, eh?
I'll get yourself and Sweetie some too. It's unfortunate the production team will not be able to appear on TV. But then there are those that makes us appear, so I have to get them some by default.
Okay. I know our Kelly, Robert Kelly, has been, had his stint, but maybe the day I think, I believe I can fly, then I'll don that and come to
This is
work.
a beautiful symbol, monarch butterfly. The symbolic meanings of it in itself, it's beautiful. It stands for transformation. It stands for change. It stands for impact. You understand?
In some cases, for rebirth.
For rebirth. And of course, we started this campaign of rebirth of Ghana. I think you guys even started it, pressing the restart button. Because we need a whole restart, mindset, the focus, the vision.
Okay. So someone says reset. Others are saying restart. In any case, it means re-something. But let's get into your thoughts for the day. You're also decked in a shade of white. I don't know whether that's a sign of victory, but 1 minute each, gentlemen, so that we can have enough time to get into all the matters and the papers we have.
Yeah,
Sure.
and I'm in court.
All right. Good morning once again, Benjamin. And to your
Good morning.
viewers. So my 1 minute take will be on the district road improvement program that the government launched recently.
Okay.
I mean, it's. Let me start off by saying it's quite a laudable initiative, though it's taken this long. But because for places like myself, Ablakwa, and many places in the country, we have very, very terrible roads, which are damaging cars, which are leading to a lot of traffic in the city. And so this is an initiative, if implemented properly, will go a long way to ease the burdens and concerns of a lot of citizens, especially in Ablakwa. Now, but I have a few concerns that we need address. For example, I mean, maintenance has been quite an issue in this country, especially when it comes to government property. So what we need to know is who's going to take care of the maintenance, and essentially how well-resourced would our district assemblies be to be able to take care of these equipment, so that they don't get destroyed after just a few years. Now, on the flip side, just a few days ago, so the minister also launched this, I don't know if you're aware, this maintenance app, as a road maintenance app, where citizens can download the app and then also make a call. There's this dedicated call center. Now, my question, I'm wondering how this, and interestingly, this project is running just for 5 months.
Right.
So just so when the government goes off. So I'm just trying to see how this app and the whole service scale fits in with this whole DRIP project. I mean, I see that as taking away the decentralization mechanism, because I don't see why citizens cannot deal directly with. Every district assembly has an urban roads department who's in charge of these streets. So why wouldn't you ask citizens to deal directly with the district engineers and rather have to call a call center? These are issues that we need the government to come clear on. But all in all, it's a good project, and we just hope that it will be implemented properly.
As for the good projects, we've had so many of them, both on paper and initiated. Sometimes you cut the sod, sometimes you start.
Yeah.
But it's the execution,
exactly.
the follow-through that usually is the problem. Back to you, Nana Sapol. Let's make it brief, 1 minute thereabouts.
So I want to congratulate all of us, especially the individuals who were so much involved in organizations, who were so much involved in the gender affirmative bill.
Affirmative action bill.
Yeah. So for the passing of the affirmative action and gender equity bill in Parliament, we are of the hope that this singular action would up the game, especially in our field of politics and the field of private sector.
You'd have to speak up a bit.
The private sector. Sometimes we are made to believe that the women are themselves not those pushing, but then the environment within which they find themselves are actually the issue. And so I believe that this bill, when passed into law or when ascended to by the president, would do us a lot of good. My problem is the part that has to do with the private sector, where the private sector organizations are supposed to also ensure a certain quota are given to women. And I would want to entreat the gender ministry to, instead of pushing too much of it, should rather sit with the private sector and have a jaw, persuade them. And if there would be rewards and national recognitions for organizations that would actually implement or see to the implementation of that aspect, then we should bring it in order to encourage them to do it. I think that is going to help us a lot as a nation. Yes.
All right, thank you very much for those thoughts. Let's quickly get into the papers. This time I'm going to start very quickly so that we can exhaust some of these matters. Then we get into your papers. The Daily Guide newspaper. Election 2024. EC opens nominations September 9. Nana shoots down Ejapadia propaganda. Baumia to open 2024 World Shea Expo. Ambulance dealers rubbish Ablakwa claims. Ekufuado commissions GNPC Energy House, and entrepreneurship should be compulsory in schools. On the back page, where we have some sporting news, Ambassador Kwaku mourns late African Boxing Federation member. I want to give up, that's according to Brazilian striker Neymar. He's admitted there are days that I want to give up during his recovery process following a serious knee injury. You know, he's not played for his Saudi Arabian club, Al Hilal, in a while. Man City fined £2 million for delaying kickoffs. And Kurt, I'm talking about Kurt Okraku, calls for patience in youth development programs. What happened with our youth development, especially football, cold soccer and all of that? We're doing so well. Starlets 91, 92 and everything in there. And then, boom, we just let go of it. And other countries, especially the European ones, are feeding off of that. Today, you see Yamin Lamal. Next time he is. You see a certain Lionel Messi at the under-20s, under-17, before you realize it. The transitions are smooth. And again, we have the age problem. Look at our good friend, Adia, who went to AC Milan. Sometimes it's so funny. It's so funny, the age dynamics and everything. You see some of these players, they say they are now 32, 35.
You see them, you know.
And we're 54.
He grew past you.
It's so rampant, you know.
Anyway, let me get into some of the crucial stories. So, Service Ghana Auto Group Limited has categorically denied claims of inflating the costs in its contract with the government of Ghana for the after-sales service and maintenance for 307 ambulances. You know, something interesting. I'll be getting into that as one of my issues in my blunt thoughts today. So stay with me when I get there. But The company, in a press statement signed by its managing director, noted that the companies in the transaction have, at all material times, including during the competitive procurement process, conducted themselves with integrity and complied with due process of law. The statement pointed out that the after-sales service and maintenance agreement was entered into in December 2019 and specified extensive after-sales. It goes on and on. I can't say I'm convinced, but of course, your opinion is yours and mine is mine. There's also the story on page 3. Election 2024, EC opens nominations September 9. When I come to you, I'll let you dilate on all of these matters. The Electoral Commission will open nominations for the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections on Monday, September 9, 2024. A statement issued and signed by the Deputy Chairperson of the EC in charge of operations, Samuel Tete, disclosed that the nominations will close on Friday, September 13, 2024. It said the filing fee for presidential candidates was pegged at 100,000 Ghana cedis. And something I noticed in all our papers, also spoken, you start with, it said, and then you go back to the present, it said, and then you say, candidates is pegged at. We think it's a mistake when you say was. It's not. So it said the filing fee for the presidential candidates was pegged at. That's good English. Just like we use the subjunctive in English. Was pegged at 100,000 Ghana cedis with a reduced fee of 75,000 Ghana cedis for female candidates and persons with disabilities in accordance with the 2020 public elections regulations. And it also said candidates vying for the position of president will be required to make a payment of 100,000 Ghana cedis at the time of submitting their nomination forms. So it means Alan Chamating, maybe Nana Yao-Sapong will be presenting his 100K cash.
No, they don't accept cash, is it?
Oh, they don't.
Bankers draft.
Yeah, of course, yes. You're right. 100K, whether by bankers draft.
Palu was the one that took cash there.
Okay. So we have those two stories. Which one? Let me add the one about entrepreneurship, gentlemen. Then I'm done with the paper, and then you can come in. It's an important point. The Deputy Minister of Finance, Dr. Stephen Amwa, says, we all call him Sticker, says entrepreneurship should be officially included in the country's academic curricula as a compulsory subject at the senior high school level and the tertiary level. According to him, the state must give entrepreneurship the needed consideration in the state budget to ensure the development of the youth. Let's hear your thoughts on these three matters. I'll start with you again, Remy.
Okay. So, which you touched on the Japan?
I've touched on
Japan,
nominations
nomination,
opening. I've touched on, well, I mentioned a Japan.
Okay.
Dear, you can go to it. I've mentioned ambulance.
Okay.
And the stories I read, election 2024, ambulance, and then entrepreneurship. But yes, I did mention.
Yeah, so let me start with Japan. Yesterday, I was at a function where the president spoke and touched on that. So it was on the occasion of the Ghana Report Summit, which dealt with the misinformation, disinformation in our political space. And it's quite interesting. Yes, the president alluded that it's some detractors of the government who are spreading this or have put this together. But what I find very interesting is this document has been out there for quite some years now.
You see on it 2020, and it's one of the things, like I said, I'm going to be talking about.
Yes, I mean,
I saw this years ago.
Exactly, at least about 4 years now. And it's interesting, granted it was even put together by the opposition, as I mean, you allege. I'm wondering why it seems to be something that it's a prophecy that is being fulfilled steadily.
It's also the exact point.
and that's very interesting for me. And I mean, it's quite worrying because certain statements made in there, we've all seen them come to pass. I mean, certain individuals who were marked out to be targeted. I mean, state entities, lands and assets that are to be appropriated. Everything is happening now. So I'm wondering why.
One of the most obvious, the bit about a non-Ashanti and a Northerner to take over, all of that coming through. So this person on the other side who put this together must have given
had this prophecy.
Must have been Elijah or Elisha or someone like that, because.
So the question is why wait now? Because again, like you said, this document has been out there. Yes, initially there was some weak efforts to just dismiss it, but given how it's become so entrenched, I'm wondering why. I think, if I'm not mistaken, a few days ago, there was Chinhim, also, whose picture is boldly on the cover page. Yes, I read he also came out to deny this document. But anyway, the other issue is on the same occasion yesterday. Yes, he touched on a few things that he also said were amounted to disinformation. And this critical statement, I was hoping he would use the occasion to clear. I mean, having assured us that he was going to do everything in his power to ensure the elections will be free and fair. But the critical thing I didn't hear him say was the issue of this statement he made back about not handing over to a particular presidential candidate.
And that presidential candidate's response that it is not in your power to determine whom you hand over.
And I think, I mean, these issues are still hanging over us going to this election.
Yeah.
It's a statement that, because we know for sure the NDC is also saying that, look, they are not even going to go to court. That has been one of their responses to this, which is quite worrying, okay? So, I mean, I would call on the president to really come out and then, call out these words, because, again, it's not his power. It is the citizens. It smacks of a bit of a dictatorial tendency, because if you're saying that you are not going to hand over, it also means that you are going to somehow control the process and ensure that is the only way that you can state emphatically that I will not hand over to a particular individual. Then it means that as citizens, our votes do not count. Is that what he was trying to tell us? We need him to really come and then retract those words. That is the only instance where we will believe his words, that he's going to do all his power to ensure free and credible elections. Then on to the EC nomination as well. Yes, the EC gave out this presser. The PPP as a political party is also gearing up very strongly. We're going to feel that we have about 10 candidates that we are agreeing people are preparing to contest these elections. Our goal this time is to, unlike 2012, 2016, when we sunk a lot of resources and had parliamentary candidates all over, we want to ensure that quite a few did well, but we realized that it's better to focus our resources on just a few and ensure that we can win power and then be in parliament and then really be that alternative in there to check the majority and the minority decisions. Yes. And lastly, I'll touch on the call by the Deputy Minister of Finance, Tika.
Right.
Call for intervention. I mean, it's very laudable. I remember as far back as when we were back in school, back in, I think, 2005 in our final year, I studied computer science, and we had to do management in our final year as part of the courses. But I quite remember the engineering students, final year students, had entrepreneurship for the entire final year. And for those of us who at the time were natural ambitions of, starting a business someday, it was something I really envied, because even back then as a student, I saw the need for entrepreneurship to be made compulsory. So it's a laudable call. It should have been drilled down, way down to the secondary schools, because we have quite a lot of young talented individuals, so that the mindset should start right from down there up to the university stage. Our education system is such that a lot of people are primed to look for jobs when they come out of school. And we know for a fact that both the government and the private sector currently, and in this current economic hardship, companies are not in a position to even declare profits and grow to be able to expand and then recruit new people. Government itself is under restrictions based on all these IMF conditionalities. So it's a call. It shouldn't just remain a call, but he needs to liaise with the education sector and ensure that the necessary amendments are just made in our curriculum to bring this to pass. Okay,
I'm just going to ask you a very brief question. Give me a yes or no answer. I'll pose that to both of you. Okay. Your political parties have been attending IPAC meetings. In recent times, we've seen some effort from the EC. Has your trust in the Electoral Commission and the process gone up? Has your trust increased? I'm starting with you, because when I come to you, I'll start with that and then we go. Has your trust increased? Straightforward answer.
It hasn't.
It hasn't.
There's still more room for, a lot more room, way more for improvement.
All right, thank you. Nana Yausapo. Briefly on that point, then...
then it's a no.
It's a no. Why?
See, the EC is the referee, the match commissioner. They should be seen as putting in much more practical efforts, real human effort, than the paperwork where they want us to trust them on. When you have come to us and you have put in letters together and press statements, and whatever you put out on paper the otherwise is done in reality, you do not expect us to trust you. When you have come to tell me that my suggestions are mere suggestions and that you have the right and reserved right to take the final decision whether or not you decide to input my suggestion, then why do I have to trust you? You understand? The one who is behind you telling you that, madam, what you are doing is wrong. You need to do it right. And then you come to tell me you are the one leading, so whatever you are doing is right. Then I'll just leave you to go.
But sometimes, too, some of those, just yesterday evening, I was with, I can't mention where, but one of the foreign missions invited me to have conversations about some of these things, over dinner. And one of the issues that came up was this. Some feel there are some problems. Some CSOs are allowed to be at these IPAC meetings. Diplomats, some of them come there. And this was one of them I had the interaction with. The media is not allowed. So sometimes it is difficult to tell whether you guys on the political end are being honest with us, or the EC is being honest with us, or both of you are being dishonest with us, or something. I don't know, because sometimes the EC will say, look, we had these discussions, and you come out and you're saying something completely different. But that also exists. So whom do we trust?
But even the smaller parties have requested the media to be present in these IPAC meetings. Personally, I think that Electoral Commission should be an open book.
So you're saying they are not open enough?
Not at all. You see, Benjamin, I mean...
you would attest to that fact. On the recent meetings you had, I think there was one meeting you guys had, the media was asked to leave, and then later they took a decision. You go home and then there was a press statement that came out and had allowed media something you were already pressing on. You understand? Yes. So in my view, EC should be an open book. Every match that is being played, and the referees and the commissioners are hiding things under their sleeves, only to come out in the evening, and in the morning we are out and it's in our face, then they are not being fair to us.
You know,
Ghana is not far from
just a quick one. Just a quick one. I mean, on the point about the diplomatic missions that are allowed to, some of the embassies, have their representative there. You see, sometimes I personally question the rationale behind that, because I find it quite worrying that we you know, it gets sometimes very heated, sometimes it gets very nasty. Certain words are used that we wouldn't want to come out there, you understand? And all these are witnessed by these foreign missions. And I sometimes have the period of getting to know some, just like we also invited, I get to know some of the commentary, some of the thoughts they have about us. And it's not really pleasant, because, I mean, they see these so-called political party leaders bickering in there. And sometimes it's all because of some of the hardline postures that the EC puts up on some of the issues that come. Essentially, the posture is, like my brother said, the posture which has been repeated severally by some of the deputy commissioners is they put on an issue, regardless of all the, stakeholder inputs that come in, even sometimes on the rare occasions when they allow the civil societies to make inputs, since they generally are supposed to, but occasionally on critical issues they're allowed to make inputs. Even then, they still go ahead to implement whatever it is. And then they're often then forced by public backlash after implementing to come back and reverse it, as we've seen severally. So it's quite worrying for me personally, being in there, interacting with them. On the issue of these media engagement, yes, we say this one thing, they come out there and release press statement and say completely different thing that happened.
I can tell you one thing I can say so that we can move on is that I've been in a number of these, like I said. So, you know, from time to time, these heads of mission will invite certain people. I've been at quite a number of them, and every time I go, this bit about election 2024 and the EC and levels of trust come up. You can tell, and it's not just even in this year alone. In previous years, I've interacted with some of these heads of missions, and upon their invitation, so it wasn't as though I even, and then they'll be asking you some of these questions. I see some concern in there, but only time will tell. But gentlemen,
But the good thing is, at the last IPAC, the suggestion was made, which the AC seemed to take it on board, that subsequently, let's all have joint press interactions after. So that it will not be the only, it won't be that the only EC
does its own.
Because the media will be waiting outside once we finish. So if let's see how that goes in the subsequent meetings.
Okay, so I will start with the entrepreneurship aspect.
Okay. Can you be brief?
No, very brief.
Okay.
Everything's good.
All right.
You,
Because I want you to get into your papers
okay,
as well.
you're looking into my papers. So there is a disconnect between the academia and the field of work. All right, and so there need to be a clear-cut policy on how to integrate and develop curricula that would prepare the students immediately they are about getting into the field of work. And that is something that is in the human capacity development of the Great Transformational Plan. So we are stating that there is a need to institutionalize the link between the industry, the academia, the educational institutions in reinforcing the importance of apprenticeship. You understand? So that the students, when they are in school, would be preparing their minds, not only for exams, but also to be out there, to be able to do something for themselves. And this would actually deal with the issues of job creation. Government is not the biggest employer, it's the private sector. And so if they are prepared for the field, it's going to work. Now, we've dealt with the EC, so I'll go to the issue of the ambulance. I think that, in my view, they are only doing PR work.
The Daily Guide?
Yes, they are only doing PR work. I don't, what I have read or what I have heard, it goes beyond the explanations that the company has brought out. Ghanaians are demanding for accountability, and that is what we seek. On the issue of Ejapade.
Ejapade, say yo. Onya Ejapa.
Ayama omani nyina. Ayama maimuni nyina.
Ejapade.
It's unfortunate, so unfortunate, that the president himself would even weigh into this war.
But he's been mentioned, the Ochehene has been mentioned. Why doesn't he have a right to defend?
The Ochehene, all these personalities have been around, and this document they claim is a fiction.
You don't believe it's
has been
propaganda?
Around for over 4 years.
No, answer me. The way you said it, they claim is fiction.
I'm developing my point.
Okay, all right.
From the page 1 of the book, paragraph 1, has steadily, consistently, just like a computer program, being fulfilled one after the other. The book came out, the time the book came out, banks had not collapsed, right? No.
I think it's dated circa 2020. Like I said, it's been a number of years since I read it.
The first one I read it was somewhere in 2017, 2018.
It's been a long time.
I saw it in 2020, so yeah.
The banks went. The others followed. The communication bit followed. The internal party thing followed. Let me take your mind back. You know, there is this Ejapade royalties that went to Parliament.
Yes. I mean, we had a field day asking questions about whether there was.
It went to Parliament. You should actually place a call to the former Attorney General, Madam Gloria Kufu, and say about the Ejapade royalties. Her comments on it even before it went to Parliament. It wasn't it. You see, you can come to want to discredit it. That is okay. We understand. But the point is that it cannot be a fiction. There cannot be so much consistency.
Accuracy.
Okay.
So much accuracy.
Right.
In something that is happening.
Right.
Didn't Senate happen?
By Senate, you mean Senate Rock City? That's what you're referencing?
I mean, the management. It is
okay, yes.
Who would take over?
Right.
And this actually even made me believe that the taking over and the hotel saga has a link.
Yeah. I see.
And so they can come out to discredit it. Mr. President.
But of course, we do
that is
not know
okay.
all of this for a fact. So,
Of course,
like
but-
I said, the president has every right to defend himself. The Ochehene has every right to defend himself. Anyone else who feels aggrieved with what is in there and maybe some suspicious happenings can come out and defend
They
themselves.
should rather be seen as working to discredit it, but not to be.
But isn't that what they are doing?
Not to be talking to discredit it.
Okay, all right. Let's get into your papers quickly. Let's get into your papers. You're starting with the custodian, right?
The custodian.
So let's just go for it. I know you are already familiar with many of these.
Okay,
DRIP has already been spoken
yes,
about.
government to start district housing project soon. Do I have to finish? And then now Toshi pledges support for district road projects. New shippers law affirm Baumia's tax measures.
Okay.
Tampuri. There's the news. Okay, so let me take the government to start district housing project soon. Just one paragraph. Government will soon start its ambitious district-level housing projects as part of measures to reduce the housing deficit in the country. The program is designed to tackle the country's 1.8 million housing gap by decentralizing housing development, tailoring solutions to specific needs of each region. This is good news, in my view, but I am hoping that it doesn't become like the affordable housing that was started by President Kufuor and abandoned. I hope that it doesn't become like the Sagrami housing project. As you said, we always have very good programs and policies on paper. But when we have started and when we are pushing, then one way down the line, we decide to leave it. And most of these very impactful projects are always started during election years.
Right.
And if you notice, or they all start during election years, and after the elections, we leave it. And that is why we are saying that there is a need to actually have a law on the continuation of government projects.
Okay.
Right. So that once we have institutionalized the plan of activity by government or by the nation, as we have in the Great Transformational Plan by Alan Shomantin, then no government would have an excuse whatsoever, because they always would run under the phrase of reviewing the project or the contract, and then those projects and contracts are abandoned. A typical example is what is happening with the cocoa roads.
Right.
They said they were going to review all the contracts. It's almost 8 years down the line. And you go back and you look at the monies that were poured on these roads and the levels of completion they had reached. Some had got into 60%, 80%, 90% completion, and they were abandoned because the government said they were going to review.
All the money expended
All
over
the
time
money
going down
the drain. That is purely causing financial loss to the state. And I think that it's gotten to a point where somebody...
You know what? We need a law that says, I think we need this. We need a law that says, if you start a project as government and you don't finish it, we'll hang you for causing financial loss to the state.
Prior to implementing, you need to have the funds. You see,
It needs to be straightforward.
Yes, we should be clear
if
that
you start it.
You can start it and
I
finish
think if we did that, do you know what they would do? They would tone down, cut down. Let's say instead of we'll build 111 hospitals, we'll build 7. And ensure, because we know that the 7 will be completed and operationalized.
It's in the Great Transformational Plan. Government would pursue realistic projects. You understand? Because if you have a realistic target, you would achieve it. We keep saying, if it is your own private company,
would you handle it?
Would you handle it this way?
Yeah.
You understand? And I think that all our ministers will need to go and probably take courses on strategic management.
Okay.
And how to pursue the
Let's quickly do the daily
the
search.
daily searchlight. It says Jinapo Ablakwa clash on lands commission data. There's another beautiful subject also.
Let's be a bit snappy on that
Approve
so I can give Remy some.
LGBT bill or face goes rough. President, Chief Justice told. Minister urges Minister urges unity to fight disinformation ahead of 2024 elections. And please,
The captions are not so clear.
captions are not so clear. I can say.
Let me see whether I can. I think it's the Kandapa Plastic waste menace. Afenyo Markin proposes action plan for solution. So the other one is the Kandapa one.
Oh, that
Minister
one.
urges unity to fight disinformation ahead of 2024.
I think,
yeah.
I was a bit, yes. All right, so we will just have a bit on the Ablakwa just one. In my view, I think the solution is simple. If you are in a government position, if you are a minister, you should stay clear of government assets.
All right. Steer clear of government assets.
I mean, to touch on that, you know, some commentators who since this issue broke out, were asking, and they also Ghanaians, and they're also entitled to it. But I mean, the point they're missing is, by virtue of their position, it gives them undue advantage over us.
Right.
And so, for me, yes, if you feel you want to, we need to have these kind of code of conduct guidelines for our political actors and appointees. If you feel you cannot abide by it, just resign.
Senior, forget code of conduct.
Resign, and then
if your conscience, if your conscience is working, some things you will not even go near.
Yeah, but where we are, it's yes, the conscience will probably work, but it's going to be brushed aside.
That is where we have the behavioral mindset change.
Right. Because it becomes systematic. It's a system now. Everybody's in there.
Look at public procurements. A lot of the procurements going on, if you look at the companies in there, you find that buy and buy and buy. These companies that are getting all the contracts are linked to some people.
But just a quick one. Yeah. Can a diary, the purchase of the procurement of diaries, be an urgent movement?
If it's not urgent for you, it is urgent for some people. When they get it's an urgency for other people. So, let's get into your papers quickly. The new Finder newspaper.
Yeah, the new Finder here says, the main headline says, reduce interest rates. In addition to other measures to tackle non-performing loans. That's from Samuel Akwa, the Chief Risk Officer at FNB South Africa. The SGAJL refutes allegations of an ambulance service contract, threatening to sue. Government to lease Commander Sugar Factory to new investor for 20 years, KT Hammond. Government to launch district-level projects, housing projects. That's from the Minister for Works and Housing, Kojo Nkrumah. And then the presidential filing fee to hit 100K and 10,000.
I think we've dealt with all of these stories.
Touched on most of these. Then the publisher, Ghanaian publisher, also says Toshi optimistic drip will stimulate growth. The same ambulance story, the same housing issue. Okay, different. Let's position Ghana to benefit from the mining sector. That's from Abu Jinapo.
And let me burst your bubble. Your bubble.
The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Samuel Abu Jinapo, says the mining industry is evolving rapidly and Ghana must strategically position herself to harness the opportunities presented by this dynamic sector. Passage of Affirmative Active Bill, UN comments Ghana. We have made giant strides in education. That's from the Minister for Education, Dr. Educhum. Yeah. HIV is real. That's Miss Malaika, Ghana 23, advises Ghana use. Yes, and I think this is an interesting one. I'll touch on. I mean, the statistics are showing that gradually HIV is creeping back.
The scariest part is the numbers that are walking around with it are not cognizant of the fact that they have it, and they are freely spreading it. And even adding to that,
and there are those
more and more people are not using protection while they do this. So,
especially amongst the adolescent population, because I can't remember when there was growing up, there was a period where it was getting out of control, and there were, for quite a few years, it was everywhere you went, even as a kid.
In the 90s, it was just all over the place.
I got to know what HIV was, because I would question my mom, what are these things? Why are these people looking this funny and all that? You see, so I think it's high time the ministry needs to address it, because the worrying part is those who also know. Our friends in the health sector who we engage on these issues, and there are people who also know, but for sometimes also there's a stigma and a treatment by the health professionals when they come in. And then also access to the medication. I mean, these are all contributing factors why somebody might have the disease, but may not really be able to take advantage of the health interventions to ensure that they can treat them. So because today, if you're on the drugs, I'm told, you can actually leave, and the drugs are actually...
You can live a next to normal...
Yes, I mean, a lot of them look very well. I've met a few. So it's
I always say, even from the 80s, you remember the Dream Team? I think that was the 92 one, and
yes.
Magic Johnson. There were some teams, because of the stigma then, that didn't want to play with the US, supposedly because
of him.
He had contracted HIV. But look at Magic Johnson today. If they put him beside many of us, you would say that he's a healthier, and he is, because of time. So the avenues are there. Even more worrying, and I'm putting it out there, so we'll all be careful as well. Women, because apparently, and I've had the head of the Ghana AIDS Commission come here and make clear, it is easier, and it's early morning, but our genitalia, they are shaped differently, and the structure is different. It's easier for women to contract it than for men to contract it. So the likelihood of a man getting it from a woman versus a man giving it to a woman is high. So I'm not saying that, but women, be extra careful. That's all I'll say. Let me just add.
Last story.
Go ahead.
On page 8 of the Ghanaian publisher, Majority demands recall of Parliament to address urgent government business. And I hope it's not really about this particular, the loan, the $250 million loan that was shot. And
but they've come to explain away on that. Yes, they are saying it's not 90 million for consultancy.
But he failed
to mention what amount was for consultancy. I listened to it.
Yes, that was what I was looking at for that. If you say it's not 90, that's fine, fair enough. But what exactly is the amount? And I mean, can the government itself, deal directly with the entity that is giving us the loan? Do we have to go through a middleman? And then give out millions of dollars.
I was excited when he said, no, it's not 90 million, and the minority is just making, what's his name? The Asanwase MP. Muntaka Mubarak is just, and I was like, oh, right, we get some clarity on it. So as a journalist, I was listening keenly. Now, Sikana is saying, how much have we committed? He knows that it is not 90 million,
doesn't have the figures.
But he doesn't know what the figure is. This country. Anyway.
When you have even asked them to bring stuff out, it is difficult. But on the interest rate, just a quick one.
We have 2 minutes and we have to
just
go.
1 second.
20 seconds.
If you would have the bank, the central bank, rate at 29% as it is now, we do not expect anything below 35 to 40% by the commercial banks.
Okay.
You understand? And this is definitely going to affect businesses.
Okay.
If a country's commercial banks are pushing their interest rate around 35%, and you have a competitive country that has a single digit, and they are all into industry and manufacturing, you do not expect to have your businesses booming as against that.
Point made. Thank you. Thank you. The Catholic Standard newspaper, it's refreshing to have this on the table this morning. From Sunday, August 4 to Saturday, August 10. Don't label elderly as witches. Struggle your own struggle. Don't go blaming your... Even if the person were a witch, the person has brought you up. And is it now that...
younger ones that are more witches.
Don't label the elderly as witches.
The elderly ones.
Then... there's also this one I wanted to take a look at. A second look at our education system, a must. So they are saying we need a second look, a review, if you like. Yes. Stand for the truth, Bishop Atakro says. Stand for the truth. I like the motto of my former hall, Commonwealth Hall. Truth stands. Truth stands. And then Catholic bishops launch 5-year peace initiative. 10 seconds, any final thoughts? Let me make it 15 for you. What do you have for us?
We're actually in Bono and Bono East.
Okay.
We wrapped up the market tour. I'll send you some of the videos. It's so beautiful. Natural euphoria, no mobilization. Pure
no more what?
No mobilization.
It reminds me of that Asem song, no more.
And so we just want to use this opportunity to thank the people of Bono, and Bono East for what they did for us. We really appreciate.
Thank you.
Showed that indeed they are poised for change.
Thank you.
They are ready for development.
Remy.
Yes, we'll call on all Ghanaians who are really suffering, who are tired of this government and want a real change, real transformation, to come in and join the Progressive People's Party. We have our EVA app, which you can get us on WhatsApp 05035173348, 05035173348. Just send hello hi to Eva. It was named after the former Director General of GBC, Eva Local, our former, as our tribute to her, our former running mate to Dr.
Okay.
Yes. So join. You can register as a member within 5 minutes. It's just a simple process, and you can also, more importantly, you can donate to the party. Politics is very expensive, and for us in the political party who are not in government, it's really a problem for us. So we need you, well-meaning Ghanaians. Put your money where your mouth is.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, Remy.
Support the progress.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me also wish a very happy birthday before I celebrate someone else. Happy birthday, Your Royal Majesty, King Taki Tekochu II, Ga Manche. Happy birthday to you. Of course, long live the king. Let me also just acknowledge the gentleman who always decks me in these fantastic outfits, like the one I'm in this morning. Mudasiru, let me celebrate him this morning. If you'd like something similar to some of what you've been seeing me in, just call him on 0557 029 138, 0557 029 138, or check him out on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. Siru Africa, SIRU-Africa. That's where you can find them. This segment is always brought to you courtesy of Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. And as always, they are offering you, if you're a man, prostate screening for free. If you're a woman, fertility screening for free. Just reach out to them at any of their branches here in Accra. You can find them at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. There's also Kumasi Kronomabwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex. There's Tema Community 22, Techiman Hansua, Takradi Anaji Estate, and of course, Isiama Nzema. You can call them on these numbers, 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Let me thank Nanaya Osapong, political assistant to Alan Chamating, and Remy Edmondson, national secretary of the PPP. Up next, we serve you Prime Take with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Do stay.